Where did friends and family go in Forever? You might have seen or heard that there's a new feature in Forever Storage. It's called group sharing. And one of the big things that's going to be noticeable about it is the words friends and family are now connections. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the change, and then I'll explain a little bit about how group sharing works. At my personal account in Forever, and the first thing that I notice is my friends and family icons here or badges is gone, and it now says connections. This means that these albums are visible to people who are my connections. And across the top, you can see the Connections tab. This is what Friends and Family used to be. So I'm going to click on that. And you're going to see I have a whole bunch of people in my connections. I pretty much set my albums to always be visible by my connections. If I scroll all the way down, I have one here, a private album, and I had some super slides that I scanned that still needed to be organized. So that's the only one that's not visible, plus my photos for information. All right, so all my albums, because they were already designated for connections, except those two, have now been updated with the new icon. When you go into an album, you can see the icon and you can actually click on it. All right, this is where you're going to see the privacy settings for your album and all nested albums within the album you're in. So you can see I have it set to connections. They're still private and they're still public. Those are the same. Connections is what friends and family used to be, and there's a new one that is for groups. So if you want to share any of your main albums with a specific group of people, you now have an option to do that. So let's talk about that a little further. All right, I just hope you understand that your albums are set to a privacy level, okay? In order to make your groups, you do have to go over to your Connections tab. And again, you can see who's all in there. And you can make a group, okay? So I'm going to just make a group called Friends. All right, these are people who I might not need for them to see all of my family photos, like, the heritage ones. So I'm going to make a group for them. Now, I just click on the F to start selecting them. So, of course, Anne is a friend, and Christy, and Emma. Let's see, Julie. Boy, I have a lot of friends. I didn't realize it. So I'm going to just kind of keep checking them. The rest of these, except for Tammy, these are all, they're friends. The rest are family members. So I'm going to click Save, and now I have a group of friends. I'm going to add a thumbnail just to make it fun, and I have flowers tagged in here, which I always love seeing my flower photos. So for my friends, I'm going to pick one of my favorite flowers. And let's see here. Oh, let's go with these pretty ones. I actually don't know what they're called, but I love them. All right, so now I have my first group with friends in it. All right, I could add another group like for church or for, maybe a soccer group if you are friends with kids who play soccer together or something like that. Who knows? I could also make a group just for one side of my family. So if I do that, I'll go and type in my side of the family, and I'll go through and I'll just start selecting who's on that side of the family. And I guess, yep, that counts, and that counts. And now I have, my side of the family in one group. I can also add a thumbnail, and for that, I'm going to go to Albums. And then I'm going to go to my 1940s Hartman heritage photos, and I'm just going to find this fun one. It's one of my favorite ones. Okay, I have two groups. Neither one of them are accessing any albums, so let's add a couple albums. I'm going to click this accessing albums. I'm going to select the albums that I only want my friends to have access to. And I have a trip here that'll be good for an example. Atlantic City. Let's say you went on a trip and it's just you and your friends. You know, the rest of your family probably doesn't need to see them. You can select that. I also had the opportunity to go to England, and that was with my friends. So I'll indicate that they will have access to those two albums, and I'm going to click Save. Notice now that those two albums will be changed to the group privacy level. That means only groups will be able to see these albums, and specifically right now it's the friends group. So I'm going to click Yes. What that means is the rest of my family won't be able to see those two albums because it's in a different privacy setting, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'm scrolling down to those two albums here, Atlantic City and England. Now I can see their privacy level is only visible to groups. All right, and when I click on the groups icon, I can actually see which groups the album is shared with. So if I wanted, I could add another group, and right now the only other group is Hartman Family. So I don't need them to see it, so I'll just click Save. Let's go back to Connections, and now I want to go to the Groups area, and I'm going to click on Hartman Family. Actually, I'm going to click on Accessing 0 Albums, and this is where I'll check the Hartman Family will be able to see this Heritage Photos album, and I'll click Save. And again, the privacy level of this album is going to change to the group privacy level. One thing I want to point out is that now my children will not be able to see this album. And for me, I feel like that is a bit of a deal killer on this particular feature. I really want my entire family to be able to see this. That means, you know, my kids. I don't want to have to keep making a new group, you know, like for my children, to have them be able to access that album. So I'm going to go to the albums view here, and I'm going to click on this album, and I'm going to change it back to Connections because I want all of my forever connections to have access to it. I need to play with this a little bit more. So now I'm back in the main albums view, and for the most part my connections can see everything except these two friends trips, which is just available for my friends to view. If you have comments or questions, throw them down below and I'll be sure to answer them because it is a big change, but I want you to know I'm here to support you as you figure it all out. All right, that's it for now. We'll see you later.